Hello, everyone. My lab is scheduled to start at 10 a.m., so I'm going to go. Yeah. So, hi, welcome, welcome, and how is everyone? Hello. Okay, sorry, I cannot see up close with these glasses on. We got Kent. Is that Kentavier, as I call him? Sorry. So, in about 2 minutes, we're going to start. Yay. For connection. So hopefully I will not continue to have connection issues, but we'll see how it goes. But welcome everyone. My comfy, cozy corner. Okay, this is a long 2 minutes. I'm gonna sit here, drink my tea. I'm doing well, of course. Happy to be on this break for fall or Thanksgiving. How are you, Kent? Yeah, so it's always great when former students actually a few weeks ago. And hopefully this live records okay because I keep getting a notification that says it's being paused due to a poor connection. Yeah, which is not great. But oh, it's 10 a.m. Okay, so hi, my name is Sharon. I'm an art educator based out of Montgomery, Alabama. I'm originally from Mobile. And this is the first in a four-part series talking about things having to do with, and I'm literally sitting right next to the Wi-Fi box, so I don't know why I keep having a poor connection, but we'll see. So this week I'm going to be talking about specifically how I became an art educator. Uh, Thank y'all so much for joining. So this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while and for the past few years, and I've been debating on what format to tell it in. I've kind of written, or at one point I wrote a blog post about what it was like teaching during the pandemic for the LM Arts Alliance. And so now I have just it's been a culmination of many things and projects that I've been blessed to be a part of over the past several years. And so I figured since I'm off, now is the time to start. Hi, Christopher. How are you? So, yeah, so I'm going to try to stay on topic. And I have a script right in front of me, but as you'll learn about me, I tend to meander and then come back to where uh, I intended to go. So, uh, feel free to drop questions or comments in the chat. And so, hopefully, I'll be able to answer them as we go along. So, again, I said my name is Sharon. I'm an art educator. I'm currently living in Montgomery since 2018. And so, if y'all can hear me okay, actually, I just realized I have this little microphone that I charged and turned on. So, hopefully, this will be better for y'all to be able to hear me. All right. So, uh, let's see. We're going to go to, let's see, 2016, 2015. I have been working at a printing company for several years, many years, more than several years, almost a decade. And I got to the point where I had applied for jobs in graphic design, which is what I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in. But I'd still been working at the printing company consistently, but it was we call it, where there wasn't any room for forward motion in my career. And so as an artist, but I started seriously thinking about becoming an educator because my mom had been a teacher for, she's been a teacher, or she was a teacher for 43 years before she retired. But so I started looking at jobs, and interestingly, when I was thinking about it, I had met with a fellow educator named Sarah Brewer, who is a math teacher at Alabama School of Math and Science in Mobile, and talked about how I was going through the application process of um, becoming a teacher. And so one of the things you had to do was, and my mom had given me the advice to, when you go on the website, and it's different now, they recently changed it, but you put in your resume and then you think, okay, a principal's going to call me, or somebody's going to, from the school board, is going to contact me about the position. But what a lot of people don't know is that it's kind of like your application's in a bank, and then the principals of the school that you want to work at have to be able to know to look for your application, because they're very busy and they may not just be sitting down that day looking for the applicants, even though they are the ones who requested the teacher for the email. Contact the principal at the school to set up, let them know that you had an application in, that you were interested in the position, and to do that. And so I did that, and the principal got back with me, and we had an interview, and it went really well. But he did have to interview a certain number of applicants, but he indicated to me that he was very eager to hire me. And so that's how I got my first position. And so the interesting thing is, because I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in graphic design, so with teaching, because there's in education, sorry, let me know if y'all are having issues with the connection freezing up, because I keep getting notifications that it's pausing due to bad connectivity. So let me know. But going back to my story, so there's been a teacher shortage for several years, many years. And so what the district in Mobile decided to do, and many other districts have done, is they have programs for people who have a degree in the subject area that you want to teach. And if you have a degree, then you do what's called an alternative baccalaureate certification, or ABC, and they may call it something a little bit different now, but this was almost 9 years ago. So you apply for the job, you get hired with the understanding that you will complete, okay, thank you, Christopher Morton, you will complete the certification while you're teaching, and you have a specific timeline to complete different milestones. So for me, I had taken the praxis actually for science, because I liked science, and I still needed to take the one for visual arts, but I did pass. I am certified in science now, but I had to take the one for art. So I got the position as an art teacher. Then you have a year from when you get hired to pass the praxis in your subject area, which is, mine was visual arts content knowledge. So that the praxis is a test that basically shows that you know what you need to know in your content area to be able to teaching students, which makes sense, right? And so after I started teaching, passed it. The thing is that the praxis is very expensive. It's $150 per test, but you can take it until you pass it before the deadline. And so I took it, passed it, had no worries. And then I had to actually enroll in the education courses. I had to take 4 education courses over the course of 3 years to be able to get certified, and then pass another test called the Principles of Learning and Teaching, or the PLT, which is basically tests you on the knowledge that you learn in the education courses. And that is more difficult, but took those college courses, did pass those time, and then passed my PLT a little bit later. And I want to say that, so in the meantime of me teaching, I taught for 2 years at a middle school and high school in Mobile. I won't say the name because I'm going to have to tell some more stories about that, but people who know me can figure it out. I taught 2 years at that school, and then I was preparing to go into my third year that principal got moved to another school, and then I had different principals. So this is me, first year teaching, second year teaching, being through two different principals. Hi, Amy. How are you? Awesome librarian. And so the second year, I'm going over, you sign what's called like an intent to return. And so I'd sign that, saying that they're going to hire you back after the second year. And then I'm planning to return to the school year. I've been looking at emails. I see actually one of the assistant principals when I'm shopping at Target, and we have a very nice brief conversation. And she looks like, and then I get an email, uh, maybe 2 weeks before the beginning of school, and says that they need teachers to help with registering students for a new school year. And I email back and say that I'm coming and that I'm going to show up. And then when I show, and in the meantime, I had been to an event that they had at the school when I saw the principal, assistant principals, everyone. They had gotten a new superintendent for the school district. And so I'd been at the school and communicating with people. Then I show up a week before school starts, and then one of the assistant principals basically pulled me aside and told me that I didn't have a position at the school. And apparently the principal and assistant principal and all my communications had forgotten to tell me. And so I didn't have a job a week before school started. And no one had told me that I didn't have a job. And so since it was a week before school started and they knew that the position had been cut all the way in May, and this is July, 2 months later, I only had, and I was in the process of getting my certification. So I had to basically, I had to find another job before the school year started, and I didn't have any time. It was completely unexpected. It was very emotionally devastating because I was going through some personal issues as well. And so, but the next day, I guess I picked myself up, went on the website, looked at schools in Alabama that needed an art teacher. Fortunately, there were a few. There were 2 positions available in Montgomery. I emailed schools. I specifically did not email the principal because I did not really want to work there because I wasn't too keen on the name of the school. And that's the first person that called me back. I want to say the next day after I had sent the email. So it might have been Friday, from Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I made plans to come up to Montgomery to have an interview. And I did that. And it was a little bit of time before I ended up getting hired, maybe like 3 weeks, because that person had a personal emergency and then was not able to meet with me. But then I was going back and forth to Montgomery, finally interviewed, and then I got the job at a high school in Montgomery as an art educator. And so the thing was, I had to pick up and move, and I never lived anywhere else, so that was a lot. But that was a process, the short version of me getting hired. And if y'all have specific questions about certain things pertaining to that, then you could drop them in the comments and I can go into more detail about that. Whether it's alternative certification, applying, taking the exam, taking my college courses. And if I keep pausing, it's because I see the notifications that the connection went out. And so I'm trying to pause so that y'all don't miss what I'm saying. But yeah, so that's how I ended up in Montgomery, and that was in 2018. So it was 2 years after I started teaching. And there's a little bit of my journey before that. I actually, when I started thinking about teaching, I got the opportunity to work for the Mobile Arts Council in Mobile, teaching some classes at the Boys and Girls Clubs for a program they call it Charting New Directions. So Riley Brenes is actually who gave me the first opportunity, because he actually recommended me to teach those. And then Lucy Gafford, who was the executive director at the Mobile Arts Council, but she has since moved on, contacted me, and I worked for them for about a year and a half. So that was how I get my foot in the door to see if I even wanted to make this career change. And even though it was very challenging environment, I really loved teaching the students and interacting with them. And so that's how after that, I started looking at positions and then actually applying for MPS. And so after I finished my certification, every year I would get what's called a provisional certificate. And so I did first, and then my final professional certificate, which I was so happy to receive, I got that in, was it 2020? I think actually the year of the pandemic, I got my official professional certificate or certification. So I am highly qualified, officially certified to be a visual arts educator from grades preschool to 12th grade. And that's the short version of my education journey. So, anybody, but yeah, this is the short version of it. Oh, that was only, it's only been 15 minutes. So, um, yeah, so we were talking about me being an educator. And so now since I've been in Montgomery, the culture I noticed was a little bit different than Mobile. And one of the things was when I was in Mobile, I was, as an art educator, actually I was making plans, for that to be my career, plans for students. And so when I that got disrupted because I was making plans to partner with a graphic design organization to have some activities with my students, and I couldn't do that anymore because I was no longer in Mobile. And so I was involved in Mobile Arts Council, which was kind of the community arts hub. And so when I moved to Montgomery and I didn't know anything about Montgomery, I decided to I decided to continue what I had been doing, which is connecting with arts professionals and arts organizations in the city of Montgomery. And the first person I connected with was actually Kevin King at the King's Canvas, and he is originally from Mobile. Uh, so I connected with him, met with, and he had just started the King's Canvas that year, actually, which was interesting. I did not realize that, but started following him on social media, started following other people. They had some networking events that I attended. Also, eventually, Tara at the Alabama Arts Alliance also contacted me once I had gotten settled, and I was able to work with them because when I was working with the Alabama Arts Council, or sorry, the Mobile Arts Council, Tara had come down to teach a workshop to us. And so that was how, networking, connecting is important, being agreeable, being nice, or being confident. It's been really amazing to see the people wanting to help me in my journey. And so when I uh, started, got settled with, being in Montgomery, coming back and forth to Mobile, moving, getting my stuff in storage, uh, finding a place to live actually was wasn't hard. But after that, so continuing to do workshops, be involved in the community, I got to do, so the workshops were like freelance things and I got paid for those. That helped me develop my teaching skills, working in the school, working in the community. Uh, my fellow art teacher, Ms. Myrick, was like very helpful and, welcoming. So even though it was really challenging and which I can go more into my first year teaching, and it was the school had a very negative reputation, but the school I came from also had a negative reputation, and in my opinion, it was actually worse. So um, it wasn't really much of a difference, and so it's kind of one of those things where people don't know if you're gonna last, and I lasted. I'm not someone who just gives up on things easily when or sees things negatively. I just try to figure out a way to navigate the situation the best way I can. And if something doesn't work, then I try something different. And so with being an art educator, settling into this place, seeing what the culture was in Montgomery, they didn't have a centralized arts organization. Since I've moved here, thankfully, that has really developed. It's like I moved here right at the time when they were getting these different creative spaces. I had so places I can note, the King's Canvas, and there's been 21 Dreams, uh, which is a nonprofit here that puts on things and which is something I actually don't really think I like to do naturally, but it's kind of like if you say the word network and you say we're going to do that, I don't like it, but that's what I've been doing. So it just means meeting like-minded people who, and seeing what they do, what they can offer, not only what they can offer you, but what you can offer them, how you can collaborate, how, if they can help you or you can help someone get where they need to go with whatever they're trying to accomplish, then that's what the networking is. If you can't do it, then you can recommend someone, and just being able to have, that information. Hi, Julia. And who is that? Esther. Welcome. So Hopefully this won't fall down. Ah, it did. Okay. It did. Sorry, I have this mic attached and it's like very precariously balanced. Okay. So I think that's it with my, oh my goodness, art education journey. Um, so Amy says her phone has fallen twice. Okay. So yeah, I think that's how I became an art educator. And so with that, so once I got settled, then I said, okay, how can I make this? Because I learned to Athens State University. Uh, Shout out Athens State Educator. And so, the pandemic hit and all that was like a whole other thing. So like a year, 2 years after I moved to Montgomery, then we have a pandemic, which is crazy. And so me trying to navigate that, which actually a lot of traumatic things happened during that time with, losing coworkers to COVID, which I think people don't really talk about enough now that we're 4 year removed from it, but it was a very difficult time. So then the kids getting back into the classroom and saying like, okay, I have all these resources and I have all these ideas. How do I take what I want to do and feel empowered to bring these experiences to my students? Because the reality is a lot of students have never had an art education class or never had a regular art teacher. And when I get them in high school, which is where I teach now, many of them have not had an art educator since elementary school. And so me having to kind of make up that loss is where I'm at. So I can't go in and say, okay, we're gonna, like when I was in high school, we would do a lot of portrait drawings and we would learn how to draw with a grid. So I'll say, okay, everybody, we're going to draw using a grid. And this is what happened my first year teaching. And so we're going to use a ruler, measure it out, give them the dimensions. And my students, maybe 2 or 3 knew how to use a ruler, as in what do these measurements actually mean? Not just the 1, 2, 3, 4 to 12, but what the lines in between, the 1/2, the 1/4, the 1/8, the 1/16, the 1/32. And so I am having to like, okay, do remediation of, we can't draw grids because y'all don't know how to use a ruler. Now, if I want to draw 30 kids in my class, I need to teach you how to use a ruler. How do I do that? And so I have to figure out how to teach students how to use a ruler and give them a test on it to make sure that they know the knowledge, they know the information, and then they're able to translate that into drawing with a ruler. Also, you take for granted how to draw a straight line with a ruler. This isn't all of my students, but it's too many of them for the level that they're on, which would be middle school and high school in my first 2 years. And so just thinking about, okay, I can't start with the mindset that kids know how to do the stuff that I think is basic. And then if we are doing something, I have to adjust what my goals are for the student. So if I want them to be able to achieve this high quality art, but that's not possible. Give them the experience of having what art education is supposed to be like. So having the supplies, having the materials, how to use the things properly, and doing all those things. And so one of the things I found, even them being able to paint something is like really amazing. Them being able to use quality supplies, paint brushes, laying the supplies out like it's like I'm a waitress and laying out there, setting the table. So things like that are things that I've found are just as rewarding as them trying to do maybe like complete photorealistic portraits or something like that, like what I did in high school. You just have to meet the students where they are and then see. But then also, you don't want to dumb things down, and you want them to realize that they can achieve amazing things. Because one of the things that I experienced was one of my students, and she was so proud. The students who actually complete their assignments, they're so proud of what they're able to accomplish, and that is like memories that will stay with me for a long time. And so that is my journey of becoming an art educator. So I am currently in my 9th year of teaching. So I started in 2016. And so next school year, 2025, 2026, will be my 10th year of teaching, which is what I've been trying to make it towards, because that would be a significant milestone, especially with how basically new teachers are dropping like flies, basically, because in a lot of situations, the teachers aren't given the supports that they need or given a realistic view of what they actually have to deal with in the high school environment that has nothing to do with teaching your content or subject matter. And so, for my part, I think it's important for us to, yes, really be encouraging to new teachers and not just say, well, you're just going to have to deal with it or you're just going to have to find a way. It's like, how, tell them what the way is or what they can do to navigate. Or for me, there's so many things that I can't control, but there are so many people in the school system, especially during this time, that are supportive of the arts, supportive of things that will not only be beneficial to the students, but actually make the school and the school system look good. And so when you're trying to get things done and approach it from that perspective, even though like everybody has their own agenda. And so with me, it's like you need to find out where your two agendas meet. And so that you can get the things done that you need done and have people believe in and buy into your vision so that you can get done. Like if I want to work with certain organizations or do certain things, then I will say, okay, how can I do that? Who do I need to connect with? What workshop do I need to attend? Who do I need to talk to? And it can be exhausting, but what I found is that a lot of people have actually reached out to me for opportunities because I think one of the things is I think I post, even though I've been through a lot of traumatic and horrible things, I focus on the positive things about it. And so, but I do want to be realistic that it is hard. And so that's kind of what my goal is for this series, is kind of being able to delve more into the things that are hard and giving people an inside view of what it's like. Because a lot of times with traumatic things, which is what they are, people, and especially when they involve other people, people think that, or they have the idea that you shouldn't talk about it because it makes other people look bad. But if this is my experience of the situation, even if it involves other people, I should be able to talk about it because it happened to me. Agree, disagree, I don't know, but this took a kind of sobering turn. But we're coming to the end of our time. So I just want to wrap up and give y'all the topics for next week. So next week, I am going to talk about uh, one of the awesome things that I got to do, which was working with the EJI and teaching their American history course that they provide for Montgomery high schools. And I was able to coordinate that in my school. So I'll talk about the process and how that came to be. In week 3, I will talk about field trips as experiential learning, how to plan them. And then week 4, hopefully as more people log on or y'all can drop questions or comments, I can talk. I can use, maybe have somebody else on. Maybe Amy will join me. But yeah, this is just new. So it's something I want to continue. And so thank you all for logging on and for joining me and for listening. And for those that are watching the replay, I will have this saved. Yes, we could talk about collaborating. So yes, we did collaborate on a cool project. Yeah. All right. So thank you for joining me. My name is Sharon, art educator, Montgomery, Alabama. Follow if Sharon82. Also, you can check out my other accounts. There are many. And yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. Have a happy Friday. Don't spend too much money, especially if you're an educator. We don't get paid again until December, and then bye.